We've all heard the phrase, "Look out for number one," or "Take care of yourself first," and we've all felt that tug to protect our own interests. But here's the question: how far can we go with that? Where does self-interest end and empathy for others begin? Is it possible to care deeply about others and still pursue your own goals? And does focusing solely on our own success really create a better world? As Adam Smith once suggested, today we're diving deep into these questions, examining the tension between empathy and self-interest, and how we can navigate it in a world that often feels divided between personal success and collective well-being. We're going to explore one of the most debated issues in philosophy, economics, and even everyday life: the balance between empathy for others and self-interest. On one side, you have the Stoic belief that focusing on personal growth and success will naturally lead to a better society. On the other, there's the argument that without empathy, without connection, society loses its moral compass. In the next few minutes, we'll reflect on how empathy has shaped our interactions, explore the concept of self-interest, and try to answer one of the most pressing questions of modern life: can we thrive personally while contributing to a better world? Empathy is more than just a warm, fuzzy feeling. It's the foundation of human connection. It's why we help those who are suffering, why we understand pain in a way that drives us to act. Without empathy, we wouldn't have the movements that changed history, from civil rights to climate action, to the rise of mental health awareness. Think about the last time you saw someone in need. Maybe it was a homeless person on the street, or a friend going through a tough breakup. Empathy is the internal response that moves us to take action, to offer a hand, to show understanding, to help them through. But where does it stop? We live in a world that demands more and more of us. We're constantly pulled in different directions: work, family, friends, personal growth. If we're always focused on others' needs, how do we make sure we don't lose ourselves in the process? Enter self-interest. The concept of pursuing our own goals and growth is deeply ingrained in Western culture, especially through the lens of capitalism and individualism. Think back to Adam Smith, the father of modern economics. In his seminal work, The Wealth of Nations, Smith introduced the idea of the invisible hand. He argued that when individuals act based on their own interests, they inadvertently contribute to society's collective prosperity. At its core, this idea suggests that self-interest leads to greater societal good. As long as we focus on improving our own lives, creating businesses, advancing in our careers, we inadvertently help the economy grow, provide jobs, and drive innovation. But here's the rub. Is self-interest enough? Does focusing on ourselves always lead to a positive societal impact? Or do we risk creating a world where people are disconnected, isolated, and only concerned about their own survival? It's not hard to see the conflict. We live in a world that often promotes the idea that success equals happiness, that personal achievement equals fulfillment. Yet, how often have you seen people who have made it in life, whether through wealth, fame, or career status, still feel empty, unsatisfied, or even lonely? This is where the tension arises. If we push too hard on the self-interest side, we may accomplish our goals, but at the expense of the connections and relationships that bring true meaning to life. Empathy, the ability to feel what others feel, understand their struggles, and walk alongside them. That's what makes us human. Without empathy, we risk becoming nothing more than successful machines, achieving, but never truly living. And yet, the more we empathize with others, the more we may lose sight of our own dreams, goals, and sense of self. So how do we balance these forces? Let me take you back to a time in my life when I found myself at this very crossroads. It wasn't too long ago that I was chasing after every opportunity, believing that the more I did for myself, the better my life would become. I was grinding away, focused on my career, my growth, my success. But somewhere along the way, I realized something. I was losing connection. I wasn't giving enough time to the people who mattered most. My family, my friends, even the people I'd call strangers on the street. I was building an empire, but it was an empire built on sand. The more I focused on my self-interest, the more isolated I felt. Then something clicked. I realized that true success isn't just about what you achieve. It's about who you impact, how you contribute to others' lives. The most successful people, the ones who have lasting fulfillment, are the ones who blend self-interest with compassion and empathy. So I made a change. I started giving back. I shifted from what can I get to how can I help. And guess what? It changed everything. My business became more successful because I wasn't just chasing money. I was solving problems for people. My relationships deepened, not because I was perfect, but because I was present, empathetic, and genuinely invested in others' well-being. It's a delicate dance. We can't pour from an empty cup. But when we give of ourselves and still maintain a healthy balance of self-care and self-focus, we can achieve far more than we ever could alone. So, how do we navigate this tension between empathy and self-interest? How do we strike that perfect balance that allows us to grow personally while simultaneously lifting up those around us? Here are 3 takeaways that have helped me and could help you in finding that balance. First things first, take care of yourself. You can't be there for others if you're running on empty. That means making time for your physical, emotional, and mental well-being. Set boundaries when necessary, and make sure you're giving yourself the energy and attention you need to thrive. Only by being strong and healthy yourself can you be there to offer genuine empathy to others. Secondly, listen deeply. It's easy to offer advice or solutions when someone shares their struggles, but true empathy comes from understanding without judgment. When you listen actively, you don't just hear the words. You feel them, you tune into the emotions behind the words, and you allow space for that person to feel understood and supported. Finally, reflect on your actions. Are you pursuing your goals for the right reasons? Are you helping others because it feels good, or because it's genuinely making a difference in their lives? Balancing action and reflection allows you to stay true to your goals while staying grounded in empathy for others. Take time to pause, ask yourself what truly matters, and adjust course if necessary. At the end of the day, both empathy and self-interest are necessary forces in our lives. The key isn't to choose one over the other, but to learn how to harmonize them. We need to pursue our personal growth, to strive for success, but we also need to connect with the world around us, to care deeply about the well-being of others. If we only focus on ourselves, we miss out on the richness of shared human experiences. But if we give too much of ourselves away without nurturing our own well-being, we risk burnout and disillusionment. The answer lies somewhere in the middle, a balance between the two. So ask yourself, how can you grow, thrive, and still contribute to the world around you? The future of our world depends on how well we balance empathy and self-interest. And if we get it right, we create a world where success isn't just about what we gain, but about the positive impact we leave behind. Remember, the most successful people in life are the ones who don't just look out for themselves, but who look out for others too. The invisible hand of self-interest is powerful, but the invisible force of empathy, of connecting, understanding, and helping is even more powerful. You can have both, and when you do, you'll find that success is sweeter, deeper, and more fulfilling than you ever imagined.